Hi, I'm Tony Barnes from a small town called Rocky Mount, North Carolina. I live in outside of Nashville, Tennessee right now in a town called Clarksville, Tennessee. Just a little bit about me. Like I said, I grew up in Rocky Mount. I grew up around my family that was deeply rooted in gospel music. And I would probably have to say that's where I really first fell in love with music. After I graduated high school from there, I went into the military for about 8 years. Um, and that's how I ended up here in the Clarksville, Fort Campbell, Nashville, Middle Tennessee area. After that, I met my wonderful wife, had two beautiful, energetic kids, and here we are today. So that's just a little bit about me. So great question. How did I get into music? I don't know. I'd probably say music got into me. When I was growing up, music was just a part of what my family did. Church was a huge part of what my family did, and of course, it was a have to do. It wasn't an option that we had. And for me, the most fun part was music. I grew up watching my cousins Luther Barnes and Bishop F.C. Barnes just be like fantastic at gospel music, and it was how they executed music, how my family presented music, that made me fall in love with gospel music and then all types of music. It kind of gave me that first taste, and then it was love at first sight for me from that point there on. I never really wanted to be out front singing or anything like that. I was super satisfied with aspiring to be one of the guys in the back playing an instrument. But as it turns out, I kind of spend more time singing now than I do playing. But it's music found me at a very, very early age, and at 41 years old, I don't see myself letting it go anytime soon. So great question. Musical inspiration and what inspires me musically. So my number one music inspiration, like I said, my family early on, being around Luther Barnes, his dad, F.C. Barnes, that set the bar extremely high for me when it came to what excellent music should sound like, what right music should sound like. And so leaving that space and going into the military and then listening to other artists just kind of kept building on the foundation that was laid there with them. And what inspires me now musically, that's kind of, I can answer that in kind of a twofold thing. That's really one, I'm inspired anytime I hear live instruments being played, like a live band, where the heart and the soul of the moment can be felt in what they're pouring into the music, whether it's in a jazz or blues setting, or for me mostly on a Sunday morning if it's in a worship setting, and the musicians are really being able to pour out their feelings, real time in a live setting. So that inspires me. And then the challenge to know that regardless to how well I do in music, how much confidence I may have gained over the years, I still know that I've got, so much growth that's before me. I've got so much that I can accomplish. I don't think you can ever get to a place in music where you could say, I've arrived. I don't care who you are, or how great you feel or how excellent you do. I think the number one thing that kind of keeps the love cycle of music going is the fact that the artist kind of knows that he never arrives. He's consistently challenging himself to learn something different, and that freshness, that challenge in and of itself kind of keeps you inspired. It kind of keeps you motivated, gives you something to wake up every day. And the way that I do that, I try to be intentional about keeping people around me that's better than me. That's not something that you'll find, pretty common in our circle. A lot of guys want to feel like they the best. They want to wake up. I don't want to feel like that. I feel like at 41, I still got tons to learn from almost everyone that's around me. And I think, one, that opens doors for me. Two, that definitely keeps me inspired. And three, it never gets old. It stays fresh. And so my love affair with music, it almost starts over every single day, every single day that I wake up. So that's a great question. How would I describe my musical style? That's a hard one to kind of answer because I'm still discovering it, to be honest. The Bible talks about singing in songs, hymns, and spiritual songs. So some of what I create is private and just for me, and it's most of it is like a prayer, and it's incredibly personal. Some of the things that I've written are very congregational, so it's kind of in the hymn vein where it means something to me, but it also resonates to other people. And then there are some things that are just spiritual songs. If you look at how David kind of wrote it, there wasn't really a lot of rhyming in some of the things that's in Psalms, but those were songs that were important to him that really articulated and expressed how he felt at that given time based on his relationship with God. So you have that part of my musical style, and then you have things that I haven't been able to articulate yet. There are instrumental sounds that are inside of me that I haven't been able to release yet. And so for me, my style is difficult to kind of describe right now. Definitely within the worship vein, but it's becoming, it's still growing, it's still manifesting. So that's a hard one for me to kind of answer. Great question. What are my goals for the future? Lots of goals for the future, tons of goals for the future. But speaking musically, I would have to say that first, to be more intentional with how I develop my my responsibility as it relates to my music. I think anyone in the gospel music industry should, specifically gospel music, should seek to definitely stay in a place where they are anointed, stay in a place where God can definitely use them. But when you look at how David got his public start in music, the question was asked for them to find someone that played skillfully on the harp. And so, yes, David was anointed privately because of the time that he spent with God. He was also skillful because he was intentional about that time. So that's the piece where I think I'm going to focus on first, as far as my goals, being much more intentional with the craftsmanship of how I do what I do, whether it's vocally, definitely with some of the instruments that I've been playing around with in the past that, I'll be honest, I just haven't taken serious and sat down and really learned them. So being intentional, one, with developing the skill set and the craft, and then two, I would love to write more songs and to really just to kind of replicate what I saw my family do. And that's give the world songs to sing on a Sunday morning, or when they're going through a difficult time, and give the world a way to articulate kind of how they're feeling in any given moment. So songwriting and recording, possibly, definitely in the future for me. So those are my goals: to be more intentional in how I develop, increase my songwriting and get that out there, and without a doubt, start recording and getting some albums out there. Social media, yes, you can definitely follow me on Instagram at I am Tony Barnes. You can follow me on Facebook under I am Tony Barnes. Just type that in, it'll pop up. Some other things, other projects that I've finished and worked on in the past that wasn't necessarily musical. I am a certified personal coach, and I've also, during the pandemic, released my first book through Amazon. So you can find it. It's called Do the Work, Conquer Your Mind, Bullies, and Transform Your Life. It's an excellent book. I would definitely get it as we go into a new year, with how to intentionally create the positive mindset that you need to accomplish whatever goals you want to set for yourself coming up in the new year. If you're going to the new year and saying, hey, I want to create some transformation in my life, but I always seem to kind of fall on a yo-yo cycle, I've got some very great tips in that book that'll help you overcome some of that negative thinking and break some of those negative cycles. So go check that out. And I would love to connect with you. So just follow me on Instagram and Facebook at I am Tony Barnes. And let's take this journey together, guys. I'm excited about everything that's going on in my world, and I would love to connect with you and find out what's going on in yours.